Namo Buddhaya, meritorious Dhamma friends, dear parents, and dear children. We have again joined uh, with you all to share the wonderful teachings taught by a Buddha, the teachings that lead to the happiness and well being of many beings. So now we have come to learn a Dhamma sermon, and make clear the paths to Nibbana. What are you all doing, children and dear Dhamma friends? You all are clearing the paths to Nibbana. Whatever the obstacles that you have to attain Nibbana, you all are clearing them up. So you all are clearing the obstacles to reach Nibbana, to achieve Nibbana. So that is a enormous blessing for our life. What do you all think? So with that enormous what do you call it, we should have confidence, that enormous confidence, that great confidence, that uh, the effort or the confidence that is not given up. Because some people, they give up confidence for some time, they have confidence, then after some time that confidence is not being seen among them. So mindfulness, effort, wisdom should be practiced without giving up. uh, it should be continually happening continuously again and again. You call it ongoing mindfulness. We can now observe 8 precepts again, the ones who did not observe the 8 precepts in the beginning of the program. Now again you get a chance to observe the 8 precepts, and we can go to the Dhamma sermon. Now let's go for refuge to Buddha Dhamma Sangha. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Now, let's observe the 8 precepts. Say after me. Imitating great arahants on this full moon poya day, I observe the precept of abstaining from killing beings. I observe the precept of abstaining from stealing. I observe the precept of abstaining from incelibacy. I observe the precept of abstaining from telling lies. I observe the precept of abstaining from taking intoxicating drinks and drugs. I observe the precept of abstaining from eating at improper times. I observe the precept of abstaining from dancing, singing, listening to music, watching entertainment, wearing garlands, and beautifying with cosmetics. I observe the precept of abstaining from using luxurious and comfortable seats and beds, imitating great arahants. On this buck full moon poya day, I observe these precepts for happiness in this life, for rebirth in heaven, and to realize the Four Noble Truths. In this Gautama Buddha's dispensation, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear Dhamma friends, so now once again we became virtuous. We became virtuous by observing the eight precepts. Now you were able to uh, develop a quality. If you all were observing five precepts, usually at home, now you started observing eight precepts. Then, uh, dear Dhamma friends, we should remember one thing. Before we go to the sermon, I would like to remind you something for you all to be happy, for you all to learn this Dhamma joyfully, for you all to learn this Dhamma with great interest, and also by knowing the benefits of learning Dhamma and by protecting these and observing these eight precepts. Buddha preached in one sutta that uh, if someone has gone for refuge to Buddha, from the moment he went for refuge to the Buddha, a great stream of merit. Imagine a great stream of water. Now think of a great stream of merit like a great stream of water is flowing towards that person's life. Just by going for refuge to the Buddha, that means he thinks that, okay, I should live according to the Buddha's teachings. I should follow Buddha's instructions. And when you do something bad, you should remember the Buddha. When you're doing something good, you should remember the Buddha. So when you're not meditating, also you should remember the Buddha. When you're meditating, also you should remember the Buddha and meditate and think, okay, I got this protection because of the Buddha. So when your mindset is always live, always maintain, and your mind is when your mind is handled, when your mind is handled, or else when the thoughts in the mind are focused to according to the Buddha's teachings or maintained according to the Buddha's teachings, he is a person who has the refuge from the Buddha, who has taken refuge in the Buddha. Then in the Dhamma, Dhamma is also the same. He practices Dhamma. Then he has the refuge. Then he should seek refuge from the Sangha as well. So then when he has when a person has these three refuges, three streams of merit like three streams of water, like always a stream is flowing. A stream, the nature of a stream is children and dear Dharma friends, uh, dear adults. A stream is always flowing. Just like that, good karma, merit will absorb to your mind, absorb to your life. Just imagine, we are just seated someplace. We are not cooking, we are not making a dan also. We are not talking even. What you have to just do is just protect the mind. Then three streams of merit will start flowing to your mind. Then further Buddha preaches, when a person protect the five precepts, once again he will have another five streams of merit. As long as you don't kill a living being, you get that. We don't have to wait for an incident where you abstain from killing living beings. Whether imagine now a mosquito has landed on your hand. Then you just blow from your mouth, or else you just slowly from your fingers you just touch. When you touch uh, the mosquito will fly away. So not only in that instance you get a merit. The moment you think that I am abstaining from killing living beings, from the time you had the determination to abstain from killing living beings, your stream of merit are flowing to your life. Then in the same way, abstaining from stealing, then today it's a great precept, abstaining from incelibacy. That means living the lives of arahants. Now today we are learning a sutta about Arahant Bakula, an amazing sutta. So arahants lived a celibate life. They don't arahants they don't seek happiness from women. They don't seek happiness from women. When they become 18, 19, or 16, they try to seek happiness by having a life partner. If a girl, they are thinking of a man. If a man, they are thinking of a girl to gain some happiness. To overcome loneliness, they need a partner. But once again, when that partner leaves that person, then they start hating each other. Then again they feel lonely. So when you try to overcome loneliness from something that gives you suffering, from something that give you again loneliness, have we really selected the right thing, chose the right thing to overcome loneliness? No. But the great arahants, they abandon all loneliness by giving up attachment towards the external world. They gave up loneliness by giving up attachments to the world, attachments to the human beings. So we, without trying to give up attachment towards other beings and other things and towards our life, we try to overcome loneliness by finding or by through something that gives you loneliness and suffering one day again. See how far away from the Buddha's teachings are we? How far away from the Buddha's teachings we are? But we can get closer to the Buddha's teachings. That means we can get closer to happiness by wholeheartedly learning this Dhamma and practicing it. Today you all are observing 8 precepts. So 8 precepts plus the 3 refuges. How many streams of merit are flowing to your life now? 11 streams. Then on top of that, you'll be learning Dhamma also. You'll be meditating. So Poya Day program is not a simple program. That is not a program that you could neglect in life. Per day program is an amazing program. You can develop enormous qualities that will give results until you attain Nibbana. In millions of lives will give results until you attain Nibbana. If you fail to attain Nibbana in this life, will be like a shadow. Whenever you are going to fall into a trouble, the merit will support you. Merit will support you to stand yourself. If you feel like committing suicide, even the merit that you've done in past lives will help you to meet a good person to overcome that bad thought, that bad action. When you have done good deeds, you will meet noble friends again and again. Then those noble friends will correct your path of Dhamma. So why we miss that assurance? Why should we miss that assurance when we can obtain and develop that assurance to a great extent? So I explained those things for you all to be happy about. The observe the I taught those things for you all to be happy about the precepts that you all are following. So now let's go to the sutta. Dear Dhamma friends, the name of the sutta is Bakkula Sutta. What's the name of the sutta? Bakkula Sutta. So in Bakkula Sutta, it is said like this by Venerable Ananda. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Venerable Bakula was living in Rajagaha, in the bamboo grove. Now, where was Venerable Bakula living? In Rajagaha. Where is Rajagaha? In India. So, King Bimbisara lived in Rajagaha, in the city of Rajagaha. Then, in the bamboo grove, the squirrel's sanctuary. Then, in the squirrel's sanctuary, then Achela Kassapa, a former companion of Venerable Bakula, in his lay life, went to Venerable Bakula and exchanged greetings with him. When this courteous and amiable talk was finished, he sat down at one side and asked Venerable Bakula. Now, we are going to learn a discussion that took place with Arahan Bakula and with a former friend of him during his lay life. So, his friend, this person, his name is Achela Kassapa. His name is Achela Kassapa. So do you all have such names? Kassapa, I think we might have, but Achela Kassapa. So this Achela Kassapa came to Venerable Bakula and asked him a question. He asked a question. Even today, people come and ask questions. So in the same way, now these days, lay people does not come to the monastery. We have to. Our lifestyle has changed. So one person asked me, Bante, how's the lifestyle of monks these days? So uh, people like to know how monks live and our qualities also. Some people ask Swaminasa or Bante, how long do you meditate? And do you talk to your parents still? Do you meet your parents still? Do you remember your parents still? Do you miss your parents? So we also get meet various type of people, various kinds of people asking various questions. But I know from Kalambadama Friends kids and also especially kids in Kalambadama Friends, it's very difficult to uh, get questions from you all. I think you all have realized. So only when you ask questions, you will develop wisdom. So what I have to do is to give you answers from Dhamma. I have to make questions and make you to answer them. So remember, you should prepare questions and ask. Then only uh, you can learn more things and know that you are really learning Dhamma. There is a background story to learn. Now, I just started the sutta from where this dialogue starts between Achela Kassapa and Arahan Bakula. Uh, I have to tell one more thing. Arahan Bakula lived for 180 years. Arahan Bakula lived for 160 years. 160 years. He lived for 160 years. So, uh, 8 years he lived the lay life. 8 years monk life. Now, in the past, children, now you might not believe, in the past, about 30, 20 years ago, people lived 100 years. People lived for 105 years, 104 years. Even recently, there was a man who lived for 104 years. What to talk about 30 years back? So, during Buddha's time, there were people who lived 160 years, 140 years, 130 years. So, Arhan Bakula lived for 160 years. 8 years monk life, 8 years lay life, 8 years monk life. Now, don't think that you will. Now, you might be thinking, okay, I will live 30 years lay life and 30 years monk life. Who knows after 30 years if you die? So, before becoming a monk, even as a child, uh, one day when this small baby boy was taken to the river to bathe this child, actually by one of the servants dropped this child to the water, to the river. This child was dropped off, and then he was taken away by the water. He was carried away by water, and then a huge fish gulped this, swallowed this small child. Luckily, this Aran Bakul is so meritorious. Luckily, this child did not die. Now, now the servants got panic and they went back and they said that I dropped this baby, and then they couldn't find the baby. Why? People jumped to the river and they went here and there. They swim all over the river, all over that place, but they couldn't find the child. Why? A big, huge fish swallowed this baby. Now what happened? A fisherman from some other, from a different area, when this man was fishing, a huge fish got caught to his fish net. Now this man took along the he took to the city, and he sold this fish to another uh, girl, and then that girl took that fish home, a big fish, and then he thought that girl actually thought, there I have heard that girl thought that, in the past that I've heard, in big fish, in their stomach, sometimes people have found valuables. So she thought this fish is extremely big, so something valuable might have inside this fish also. And then she slowly cut the fish stomach. And then when she cut the fish stomach, amazing, dear children, the baby boy is still alive. The baby boy is still alive. And then she took the baby to the king, and then the child belonged to both families later on. So then he got a special name. So so that child was known as Bakkula. Kula is family. So Bakkula. So he belonged to two families. Arhan Bakkula. Then now you might be wondering, how can a person survive in a fish stomach? Now there was another incident where a mother died who was expecting a baby. Even that mother, when she was burnt in the graveyard, the next day when the people went to collect ash, the child was on the pyre, not being burnt, not burnt. So meritorious things happen for meritorious ones. Now, in car accidents, sometimes the person who's driving the vehicle dies, but the next person survives. That's the power of merit, children, dear Dharma friends. Now, I taught you this background story for at least for you to have some knowledge. Who was this Arhan Bakula in his lay life and his amazing things? So, imagine if such amazing things happen as an infant, as a lay person. Imagine what kind of amazing things would have happened after becoming a monk. Before becoming a monk, if he was so protected, even if a fish swallowed that small child, if that small child did not die, and if he was taken care by two families, imagine after becoming a monk. After becoming a Arahant, he has 41 amazing qualities. Arhan Bakul had 41 amazing qualities. Now I will read one by one. See at least whether we have one quality that Arhan Bakul practice in life. And one more thing, dear children and Dhamma friends, dear adults, the reason I'm teaching about Arhan Bakula is Arhan Bakula was the foremost disciple, one of the chief disciples who was the most healthiest monk, the most healthiest monk among all the other monks. So this time we want to have a good health. We want to maintain a good health. So our teacher, most venerable Kiribadgoda Jnanananda Pingat Lokaswamin Wahanse, has advised us to light a lamp to Arahan Bakul every day and expect well-being for our life. Nirogi Sapa, expect good health for our lives. So from today onwards, children, when you chant the Ratana Sutta, you should light a lamp to the Buddha, you should light a lamp to Arahant Bhakula, also you should light a lamp to Angul to Arahant Angulimala. To whom? To Arahant Angulimala. So altogether how many lamps, children? Three lamps. So that's why I decided to teach you about Arhan Bakula, for you to light a lamp and think of Arhan Bakula's great qualities. So now we are going back to the discussion that took place between Achela Kassapa and Bakula Arahan. So Achela Kassapa went to Arahan Bakula and asked this. The first question that Achela Kassapa asked from Arahan Bakula is, Friend Bakula, how long is it since you went forth? How long is it you have become a monk? It is 8 years since I went forth, friend. It is 8 years I have been a monk. What's the first question he asked? How many times have you spent uh, with a woman like a married person? Like living with a woman, not living a lonely life. Then Arhan Bakula said, You should ask me such a question as this. You should ask me such a question as this. Friend Bakula, in these 8 years, how many times have you ever had lustful thoughts in your mind? What are lustful thoughts, children and dear Dhamma friends? Lustful thoughts are just thinking about beautiful forms, beautiful things, thinking again and again and crying for those things. Now, don't we think of these beautiful things, the things that we have not uh, used before, things we would have used before, but we need them again. Then we remember beautiful places, then beautiful people. So when you expect for something that you can't get always, what do you get always? Suffering. So then Arhan Bakula says, forget about living with women. What you should ask me is, ask me whether you have thoughts of having a desire to live with a woman. Because monk's life is to live a lonely life, a secluded life. Then, then Achela Kassapa again in return ask a questions. Friend Bakula, in these 8 years, how many times have you ever had lustful thoughts in your mind? Then Arhan Bakula replies like this. Friend Kasapa, in these 8 years since I became a monk, I do not recall any thought of lustful thoughts, any sign of lustful thoughts ever arisen in me. That means from the day he has become a monk for 80 years, not a single time a lustful thought has arose in his mind. Now, can we find a time that a lustful thought was not arose in our mind? Always lustful thoughts, or else angry thoughts, Always thoughts of delusion, thoughts of not knowing the true nature of the world, thoughts, suspicious thoughts, or else regretting. But Arahan Bakula says he can't remember a single day that he has ever maintained or developed a lustful thought in his mind. So remember, when you're offering a lamp today to Arahan Bakula, expect a mind like that, a mind that is free from lustful thoughts. Expect a wonderful mind like that. Arahan Bakula achieved that. Then Achela Kasapa says, okay, this we remember as a wonderful and marvelous quality of Venerable Bakula. That means now Achela Kasapa is telling, okay, we will remember this marvelous and amazing quality. We will remember this as a marvelous and amazing quality that Arahan Bakula has. So now you also should remember this amazing and marvelous quality. You should remember this. What's the first one? He can never, he has never had lustful thoughts in his entire monk life. Then Achela Kassapa asks from Arahan Bakula, have you ever had any ill will thoughts? Have ever cruelty arise in your mind? Then Arahan Bakula explains that in the 8 years since Arahan Bakula became a monk, no thoughts of hatred arose in his mind. Imagine living for 8 years without getting angry. Can you determine yourself to live for 1 week without getting angry? Can we do that? Difficult. But but remember, there is a chance for us to gain merit by offering a lamp to such a monk, worshipping a such a monk, and to clear our paths, to get blessings from those great arahants, for us to have a mind like that in future. So even right now, if we don't have a mind like that, dear children, we can obtain that at least in future by worshipping and venerating such great arahants. So that's the most important thing in a Buddha Sasana. Even if we don't have these qualities that we are, even if we don't have these qualities which we are discussing, at least in future we can develop them. At least in next moment we can develop them. At least in next life we can develop them. That much the Buddha's teachings are amazing. Arahant Bakula explains, friend Achela Kasapa, in the 8 years since I went forth, I do not recall any thought of sensual desire to ever arisen in me. And also, Arahant Bakula says that uh, in the 8 years since I went forth, I do not recall, I do not recall ever accepting accepting a robe from a household. That means throughout his monk life he has used only one robe. Throughout his monk life he has wore only one robe. That means he has always wear the robe mindfully. Now if he has put the robe to the cloth line, after the robe get dry, he immediately takes it. He doesn't leave the robe in the sun, under the sun, for days. Now, even lay people, they put clothes to the they put clothes to the cloth line, and sometimes they keep it for days. Then what happened to the material, to the clothes? It will get damaged very fast, and then it will decay. But Arahan Bakula, he has never accepted a robe from a lay people throughout his monk life of 8 years. So if there was a monk who wore a robe for 8 years, who was that? Arahan Bakula. Arahan Bakula. Then Arahan Bakul explains he can never remember he has cut a robe. He has never cut robes to stitch a robe. And also, Arahan Bakula has never sewn a robe. He has never stitched a robe with a needle. That means throughout his monk life, his robes has not get stuck in the hinges. of the doors. Sometimes when you walk, your clothes get stuck in trees and hinges and all these places, right? But Arhan Bakula's robe, he was that much mindfully. He walked mindfully. He worked mindfully. So his robe was always protected. Sometimes our clothes get teared, right? When our clothes get stuck somewhere. But Arahan Bakula, he wore a huge robe, but then not a single place of the robe got damaged. Then usually monks, they like when the color fades away, we dye it again and again. Arahan Bakula has never dyed his robes for 8 years. So imagine, dear Dhamma friends, how much Arhan Bakula, the enormous qualities that Arhan Bakula had. Then Arhan Bakula explains, friend, in the 8 years since I went forth, I do not recall ever having accepted an invitation to a meal. That means he has gone from house to house and collected food. He has never accepted invitations, that is, invited to take food in homes. Now, when we are invited to houses to take meals, they usually prepare the food very well. They will prepare the food very well and give us. But when we are going from house to house, actually the people are not ready with food. They offer what they have cooked for them. But when we are invited for houses, they cook for the monks specially. So Arhan Bakula, he was so content. He did not accept any meals that was any invitation to a meal given by the lay people. One more thing, he has never thought, oh, at least someone invite me for a dana. Please, someone invite me for a free meal in a house. He has never had a thought even like that. Now, don't you think sometimes if my mother take me to a restaurant today, if my uncle buy me a shirt tomorrow, if my grandfather give me 100 rupees tomorrow, don't we expect things like that? By any chance, if they don't give, how do you feel? So Arhan Bakula early itself he did not have these evil thoughts. Will someone give me food? Will someone help me? No. So when a person does not have expectations whether other people help them or not, the advantage is uh, they live happily whether they are taken care or not. Then Arhan Bakula, he can never remember he has sat down inside a house and consumed food. That means he has gone to the house, collected food to the alms bowl, and come back to the monastery and eaten. He has not spent time in houses. That much detached. Then Acharya Kasapa says, we too, we take these qualities as amazing and wonderful qualities that Arhan Bakula has. Then Arhan Bakul explains, friend, in the 8 years since I went for forth, I do not recall ever having grasped at signs and features of a woman. That means if that monk has seen a woman before, he can't even remember the face. He don't remember the signs of that face. That much, even when he looked at a woman, he sees the skeleton of that woman. He sees the disgusting part of the woman. He thinks about his body. So when he thinks like that, the unpleasant things as seen as unpleasant things, even the pleasant things as seen as unpleasant, because what we see as pleasant is not actually pleasant. What we see is an illusion. Now imagine, we now you all can see my teeth. Now whether my teeth is fair or dark or black or gray or white or made with gold, imagine my teeth is embedded with gold. But remember, these set of teeth, these teeth, what it's always mixing with saliva. This teeth is always touched by saliva. But do we remember that when we see uh, teeth of other people? No. Why? Our understanding is covered by delusion. Our understanding is not according to the true nature, dear Dhamma friends, dear children. So Arhan Bakula can never remember a woman's image. Imagine how much Arhan Bakula's mind was purified. Then Arhan Bakula says, I have never taught Dhamma to a woman. Arhan Bakula has never taught Dhamma to a woman. So in the same way, there were nuns in the Buddha Sasana. There were nuns. That means nuns is female Buddha's ordained disciples. There were nuns even who has never preached Dhamma to male people, to male lay followers, who lived a secluded life. Then Arhan Bakula says, even much as a four-line stanza, that means not even with a four-line stanza, that means not even like a Dhammapada stanza, Arhan Bakula has preached. Then Arhan Bakula has never visited nuns' monasteries. See how much detached. Then Arhan Bakula has never taught Dhamma to bhikkhunis. Arhan Bakula has never taught Dhamma even to a probationer, even to a nun who is a probationer. Ever have a taught, ever having taught the Dhamma to a female novice, not even to a novice monk. So Arhan Bakula was that much detached. Now usually now you might be wondering why this Arhan Bakula is not doing many activities. Now now see the normal nature of our mind is when we see things from this world, we need this, we need that, we need to do like as much as we could do. No limitation. Now imagine even if you sleep, imagine you sleep today 10 hours. Tomorrow will you feel like thinking, okay, yesterday I slept 10 hours, I shouldn't sleep anymore. Do you feel like that? No. Imagine people take alcohol. How much they take alcohol, they will never get satisfied. They will never be satisfied. So, sleeping, taking alcohol, engaging in sexual activities, no one will get satisfied ever, even at the face of death. So, we should be courageous. We should be uh, aware of these things. When we do not have these unnecessary expectations, we should have expectations to practice this path of Dhamma. But every other things that we see, and we smell, if we do not have a control in our mind, we will not know what to use and what to not to use. We will not know what to think and what not to think. But Arahan Bakula fortunately knew what to think and what not to think. Then Arahan Bakula explains like this. For 8 years, I have never ordained monks. He has never ordained monks. And also, he has never given high ordination to any monk. He has never had attendance for him. And also, he has never had a novice monk to take care of him in the monastery. That means all the work, cleaning work, washing the robes, everything was done by himself. He has never hoped or thought even having an attendant for him. See how much he's detached. Now when can I have a servant? When can I have when like even the socks? Mom, can you bring that socks for me? Mom, can you find my tie? Mom, where's a lunchbox? Every mom, mom, mom. Now, if you can practice at least few qualities that Aran Bakul had. Now, see, if your mother says, no, I can't, Puta, you find yourself, then what happens to your face? Doesn't it change? The face change. What happens to the mind? Doesn't the mind change? Mind also change. So why we should change our minds? You can ask favors from your parents, but if they say no, you should be ready to do it on yourself without getting angry with your parents. Now, see, they give life to you also. After getting a life from your parents, you have been taken care by the parents, but yet you want more. Now, once you got life, after you got life from your parents, now it's your responsibility to give happiness to your parents. Then, dear children, Arahan Bakula explains, I have never bathed uh, in a heated room. You call it sauna. So uh, then Arhan Bakula has never used soap. So you might be wondering how could he survive? Well, he used water to clean it. Now, whatever the incidents that could give him, like whatever the things that lay people can't give up, he gave up. Now imagine tomorrow if there's no soap in your house, no soap, finish. Now due to curfew and due to excessive shopping done by people, now from next month onwards, imagine in Sri Lanka no soap. Now what happened in America? What did any of them had enough toilet papers? No. Didn't they suffer? Didn't they cry? Didn't they get angry? Didn't they struggle? But Arhan Bakul, he was able to survive without soap. So whether there is soap or no soap, his mind is not affected. But tomorrow, if we hear that, okay, now in Sri Lanka, no more soap, can you survive? Will you survive? Now think yourself. No. That's why, children, we should go for refuge to great arahants. When you say Sangang Saranang Gachami and think of the great qualities of arahants, a stream of merit is flowing towards your life. That stream of merit is flowing towards your life because those great arahants qualities are immeasurable, hard to think, can't even imagine the great qualities that they have had, that they have developed. Only by learning and hearing the qualities from them, we can think of the great arahants. But we ourselves, we can't think the nature of a great arahant, the nature of arahant from our knowledge. So we can only think of the great arahants, the nature of arahant, from the Buddha's teachings and from the understandings of the great arahants. Then, dear Dhamma friends, he has never uh, he has never told his companions to massage his legs or head or his hands. Then he has never uh, told his companions at least to massage his legs and body at least for a period of taking milk from a cow. That much he was healthy. So if you want to maintain a good health these days, offer a oil lamp to Arahan Bakula before you chant the Ratana Sutta. Early morning, in the middle of the day, and in the night. That blessing you get from Arahan Bakula, you can't get from doctors, not from nurses, not from a mask, not from steaming. We should take those precautions, but not everyone who steams, not everyone who take hot water were able to overcome this corona disease, were able to eradicate the corona disease, to get cured from corona disease. We need to have a merit also to survive with the support of medicine. Then Arahan Bakula says he can never remember having or consumed medicine in his life of 160 years. He has never taken medicine. In previous lives, actually, he has offered medicine to Buddhas. So, offering medicine, you will never get sick. See, for 160 years, 108, the last 8 years also no sickness. He and further, he has never sneezed, no sneezing, no coughing even. See the nature of Arahan Bakula's life. Then one more thing, Arahan Bakula only lived in three postures. He used only three postures to live. Now, how many postures do you all use? What are the four postures, dear Dharma friends and children? We use the standing posture. Then what else? The walking posture we use. Then the sitting posture. What's the last posture that we use? What's the last posture? We lying down posture. Now, when we are tired, we go and lie down on a bed. Arhan Bakula, for 80 years in his monk life, he has never slept. What is he doing? Meditating. For 80 years, he has not made his body lie down on a bed. Can we do that? We can do it one day. Start from offering oil lamp to Arhan Bakula. Start from there. Remember the Arhan Bakula's great qualities and think of them every day. At least think two or three qualities of Arhan Bakula. Then the meaning of Sangha Saranam Gacchami will take place, will be effective. Then Arhan Bakula explains he has never lived in a house. He has never stayed in a layperson's house. So Arhan Bakula says after from the day he became a monk, it took only 7 days for him to become an arahant. Imagine if one fine day if he became a monk, first he became a monk, then to purify his mind from all the defilements, it took only 7 days to become arahant. So if you like to become arahant in 7 days, at least in another 10 years, start by offering oil lamp to Arahant Bakula and learn the Arahant Bakula story again and again, the Arahant Bakula Sutta again and again. And take at least one quality of Arahant Bakula and practice it at home. Practice it. Then Arahant Bakula says, only 7 days I ate food without being an Arahant. Only 7 days. But on the eighth day, I became an arahant. Then Achela Kassapa says, after hearing all these good qualities, Achela Kassapa says, dear Arahant Bakula, now I feel like becoming a monk. Then Achela Kassapa, who asked a stupid question finally in the beginning, finally he decided to become a monk. And even Achela Kassapa became Arahant, became a Arahant, and then lived happily. So see the protection that you get from the noble Dhamma, dear Dhamma friends. Then Arahant Bakula, one day what happened? He one day on a late occasion, Arahant Bakula on a late occasion, Venerable Bakula took a key and went from dwelling to dwelling, saying, "Come forth, Venerable Sirs, come forth, Venerable Sirs. Today I shall attain final Nibbana." That means Arahant Bakula knew when he is going to pass away. Do we know that? We don't know. Arahant Bakula, on the day he is going to pass away, he went from Koti to Koti. From he went to the other rooms of the monks in the monastery and told all the other monks, "Look, today I'm going to pass away. Everybody come in, come out. Today I'm going to pass away. Everybody come out." And then he went and lied down outside and he passed away. That is also another marvelous quality of Arahant Bakula. So he reminded others and passed away. And then, furthermore, he seated uh, amidst the Mahasangha and he attained the final attainment of Nibbana. So, that is the last quality of Arahant Bakula. Altogether, like this, Arahant Bakula has 41 qualities. How many? 41 qualities. Now, these 41 qualities, without discussing the meditation techniques he's practiced, those extra meditation techniques he taught, then his supernatural powers, then ability of seeing past births. Without discussing those things, we just discuss these few things that is very gross. The things that he practice in daily life, not mentally, most of them are bodily. So, out of 41, children, let me know how many qualities you can practice. What are the qualities that you would like to practice today? So, the reason I taught you about Arhan Bakula today is because we need good health. So, Arhan Bakula is a monk who have never used medicine, and then he was chief among the other monks to be the most healthiest monk. So, at this situation during this coronavirus, we should seek protection from such a great monk, and then spend our time in a meaningful way and live life in a meaningful way. So remember the Arhan Bakula story. We learned this very well, and the nature of Arhan Bakula and how we develop qualities. So by learning this Arhan Bakula's sermon, may everyone have the opportunity to become like Arhan Bakula and practice those great qualities and have well being and realize the Four Noble Truths in this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo Buddhaya.